You're listening to Liberty Lampoon, episode number 9, with me, Aaron.
No music?
No, this is pre-music. You're supposed to say, and me, Michael.
And me, Michael. Here's the music.
You're listening to Liberty Lampoon. That's
Liberty
right.
Lampoon.
Where we lambast politicians, public figures, policies, and print, all from a libertarian perspective. This week, we got a lot of stuff to talk about, mainly WikiLeaks. There's a big segment coming up on WikiLeaks. All the corruption there. And some more anti-war stuff, I would say. Wouldn't you, Michael?
I would, Aaron. I absolutely would.
But first, we're going to talk about this fucking debate. So, I think it's safe to say that everybody thought that this debate was way more entertaining. You know, I heard some anarchists that I follow a lot talking about how it was actually good entertainment, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, what did you think of it overall? I mean, there was parts of it where I was suicidal, I would say, but there was also some parts of it where I was like, okay, from a utilitarian perspective, Donald Trump was serving a purpose. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, calling out the machine,
right?
Without the possibility of getting suicided,
right? But only from a utilitarian sense. I mean, I wouldn't. It's not like I'm not making a case for him. I'm just saying, as far as like getting up on a debate stage, fucking bringing out all of Bill Clinton's victims the day before. Or no, it was the day of. He brought them.
Yeah,
just
they were
sat
all
them next
sitting
to
in
him.
the same auditorium. Yeah.
No. Like, did you see that press conference that he did before? Like, beforehand, he sat them all down in a room in front of the media, and like he talked about it. Like, these are all Bill's victims.
Yeah, he even talked about it during the debate. He said, "And they're all here tonight."
There they are, right there, right over there, and that that picture was going around of Bill Clinton's eyes. Like, yeah, have you seen that? So many
he's like
memes.
Trying to like look over without turning his head.
Yeah. Freaking a friend of the show, Matt, he sent me all of these memes, like just constantly sending me memes in the evening thereafter. And one is, it shows Chelsea next to him with his eyes looking over, and she's looking in that direction too, and it says, quote, "Dad, those are all the women who raped you." And then there's this other one, it says, "When all your old side chicks show up to your wife's job interview."
That one I think I saw. I saw that one.
Oh, yeah, I think I reposted that one.
Well, and I thought the debate was really entertaining. One, just because Trump was just all the stuff that people sling around about the Clintons and about their foundation, about Hillary and people dropping dead. Trump just put it all out there right in front of her. And it was really entertaining to see her reaction to those. And I wish Donald Trump would have hammered a few points home a little bit more. It would have been epic. But essentially, we just realized that Hillary and Donald are actually just the same person running for office. Yeah,
I noticed that something that really kind of was bugging me about the whole thing was, as far as the substance of what they were saying, like the ideas of what they were saying, they both have policies that are going to crush the economy. That's what people don't realize. I feel like is they both are. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say their policy talk went about as deep as Bill Clinton's dick.
Oh, that's deep. That is a deep cut. And we'll get into some of that in a little bit. But first, I want to play I think everybody's favorite part of the debate. I mean, I saw Democrats who were actually pretty stoked on this. So I'm going to go ahead and play this clip real quick.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
That is my favorite clip, dude.
the room. A bunch of people jumped on their chairs and were like, "Oh, Dave!
Yeah, you didn't get to hear the.
He just said you ain't got no nipples."
Yeah, you didn't. You didn't get to see like all. You didn't get to hear all of the, the response after that. Even though the moderators kept going, please, we've asked you to be quiet. We need you to be quiet. Shut up out there. But we won't correct you if Hillary starts getting applause. We will not correct you. But no Donald applause, please. No Donald applause.
She specifically said no applause for Donald.
Dude, but he is still a piece of shit. I mean, like, I was listening to something today, and it was talking about how
we're all doomed.
Yeah. Well, no, it was talking about how Barack Obama had, he ran I think a $757 billion debt or something like that. He cost the country $757 billion on a certain thing. Right. Oh, his programs, his healthcare program. And then, but then if you look at how much Donald Trump's programs are going to cost, like the ones that he's kind of put forth, it comes out to $1 trillion, So it's like, how can you call yourself a small government individual and then support Donald Trump? It doesn't make any sense.
We're going to reduce taxes on the middle class. Man, my Trump impersonation is not on today.
It's dog shit. But anyways, as far as all the stuff that Donald was willing to say about Bill, there were some other things that were going on across the country afterwards that I thought were very interesting, and I really think that we ought to play some of those. So I'm going to play this first clip real quick, and just let me know. I want to see your reaction, Michael, because I don't think that you've seen this yet. So here we go.
Okay. All right.
If it'll play. God damn it. Wait for it.
That's what she said.
Yeah, she did say that.
Nobody can dispute the fact that we need. Oh, yeah? Thank you.
Did you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
He said that you're a rapist. So there's that one. Here's this one.
That's the problem.
Here's the problem.
And
Bill Clinton is a rapist. Infowars.com.
That was my favorite one, just because he goes
Infowars.com.
Yeah. It's like it's like a new thing of World Star, like somebody does something and says World Star. But here's another one. This one's a little bit quieter.
About whether there's going to be a future and their kids can have the same upward mobility they felt they had. I know that. That's what it ought to be about. How can we have an economy that works for everybody? How can we make sure everybody gets a chance to participate? How can we...
That one cracks me up too, but it's a little bit quieter because she's like, they're trying to quiet her down. I think they were running Bill's audio in, so you didn't really get to hear all of it. You know? So, but yeah, it was this chick. She just popped up into the crowd with a shirt that I guess she probably had it on inside out or something. She took the shirt off and had another shirt underneath, and the shirt said Bill Clinton is a rapist on it, and she tied it to 2 sticks and held it up real high. And yeah. So that one was pretty cool. She put it right in front of the media's camera, like, because they had their camera sitting up high, and she just stuck it right in front of the camera and then walked back and forth in front of it. I thought that was awesome. So yeah, Bill Clinton's getting trolled pretty hard right now. And
he is.
Something I was thinking of, though, was where were these people when all these allegations came out initially? You know what I mean? Like, so it's cool that he is a rapist, allegedly. But at the same time, like, is it because you care about the victims, or is it because you don't want Hillary to get elected? You know what I mean? Like, I think that there's like a level of, that kind of sucks. But anyways, I think it was
justify the means.
Yeah, I think it was the Freedom Fiends who made the point that this is the most rapiest election ever because you got two candidates who are just shrouded in just rape and sexual assault and lewd comments and all this. It's just filling the campaign, and it's just, I don't know. I'll be glad when it's fucking over. Jesus Christ.
Right. I was thinking about that yesterday. I was thinking, what are we going to do? What are we going to talk about when this election's over? And I realized our government's still fucked up 6 ways to Sunday. So we'll be fine. We'll have plenty of content.
Yeah. Actually, it'll be easier for us once we have a winner. Because then we can focus our efforts on that single person for, the next 4 years.
Next 4 years, yeah. So keep tuning in to Liberty Lampoon. We'll be here for at least the next 4 years.
Yeah, we have an announcement to make. Apparently, we're going to be doing the Grand Phallus of the Week every week for the next 4 years. Will be whoever wins the election. I hope you're ready, folks.
Plus or minus their VP, their Secretary of State, and possibly their press secretary, because I normally don't like the press secretaries.
Yeah, fuck press secretaries. God, I can't even spit it out. I could not be a press secretary, apparently. Oh, but I also wanted to mention something real quick. Gary Johnson was not in the debate. He will not be in the next debate. And, I'm kind of glad about that. I think he would have just kind of screwed things up for libertarians. I think he would have made.
I would have been mad.
Yeah.
This is the Gary Johnson you would have seen tonight.
Yeah. Oh, what's that, Greg? We got a caller? We got a caller, Greg? Is that what you're saying? Okay. Just send it to my screen real quick. Send it to me. Okay, here it is. Okay, looks like we got Larry Ronson in New Mexico calling in. Larry, good to have you on. What's going on, man? I think that Gary Johnson would have made a great... he would have done a great job on the debate stage, and I just think that you guys are being unfair to Gary Johnson.
Well, Larry,
are you Gary Johnson? Is that are you calling in under a pseudonym? No, I am not Gary Johnson, but I think that it would be good to have somebody who's fiscally conservative and socially inclusive. And go ahead.
Larry, let me ask you this: if you were to run for president, who would you want as your VP?
I think that Bill Weld would be an excellent choice. He ran the state of Massachusetts, and as a Republican in a Democrat state, and so that shows that he's willing to reach across the aisle. And I think that it makes me mad as hell that they can't get on the debate stage. And
well, let me ask you this, Larry: if Gary was on the debate stage this last week, what do you think it would have been like?
I think that he would have been fiery, and I think he would have probably brought Bill Weld on stage with him a couple of times. Because let's face it, a team is better than these authoritarians that we have. And he ran the state of New Mexico and did just fine. And I think that marijuana should be legal. So legalize marijuana. Stop these foreign occupations and regime change. And I think Gary Johnson should be on. Go sign the petition right now. JohnsonWeld2016.com. I think that you all should do that. This message paid for by.
Well, Gary, it was a great pleasure having
Gary,
you on.
we know that this is you. Could you just maybe tell us why are you such a pussy? We need to know that information because it just seems real weird that you even care about this election because you're not prepared about anything. We see you all the time saying dumb things that don't make any sense. Sticking your tongue out at somebody who's interviewing you? What is going on with you, Gary? I'm not Gary Johnson, but I'm sure that if he was here, he would agree that we don't need to know everything because we're probably not going to win. We just really want to get that welfare check for the Libertarian Party. Gary, that sounds really shitty. So we're going to go ahead and let you go. It's insane to me that you want to play into the system. And yeah, so here's an interlude that's directly about you. So deal with it. I'm Governor Gary Johnson. I'm Governor Bill Weld. I'm running for president. And I'm running with him. As governor of New Mexico, I vetoed so much legislation it would make your head spin. And I did that as hard as I could, 487 times. And as governor of Massachusetts, I found out where my butt is. And he did that all in his first term. As a Republican, I won re-election in a Democrat state by a landslide. I'm a Democrat, but I have a Republican. I'm Republican. I won intelligent immigration reform. Cake. School choice. Hot chocolate. Lowered taxes. TV. What do you say, America? You in? No thanks, Bill Weld. And we're back with...
We're back.
Yeah. We're back. And we're back with some... WikiLeaks is back, and god dang, man, I can't believe Julian Assange. He's like, he doesn't care if he dies or not, like, I'd be so scared. Hell, doing this show, I'm kind of scared that we're going to get droned.
He's probably come to the terms with the fact that he's going to get droned, but luckily he's staying in an embassy, so unless the U.S. wants to start a war, can't really blow it up.
Yeah, I don't really understand embassies. Like, it doesn't really make all that much sense to me that they just want to just blow it up. Because, I mean, hospitals aren't off limits, apparently. Funerals aren't off limits. ISIS had a prison that got blown up, right? They had this prison where they were throwing prisoners in there. Who do you think was in that prison? I mean,
ISIS, duh.
Well, yeah, but why would ISIS have a prison?
There was five.
It's a prison
there was
for holding
five guards in there. There was 5 guards in there. Granted, there's probably like 200 prisoners, but still, 5 ISIS fighters.
Christians,
we took
peaceful
those sons
Muslims
of
who
bitches
didn't.
out.
We'll get to the military-industrial complex in a second, but let's first start out with all these WikiLeaks stuff. So there was one of the I'm just going to go through some of them. One of them was basically talking about how Chelsea Clinton was really worried about an article in the Post about her father and a multitude of women over the years, then about the health of 2 senior Clinton Foundation officials, one of whom threatened to kill herself, according to an explosive WikiLeaks email released Monday. This is the New York Post.
Explosive.
Yeah, and basically, here's the content of it. Quote, she was on Staten Island in her car parked a few feet from the water's edge with her foot on the gas pedal and the car in park. She called me to tell me the stress of all of this office crap with William J. Clinton and CVC, who I don't know who CVC is. Whatever. CVC is, is it the... I don't know what it is. As well as that of her family and driven her to the edge, and she couldn't take it anymore. Ban wrote to Hillary Clinton's then State Department Chief of Staff Cheryl Mills, along with Bill Clinton's former Chief of Staff John Podesta and Justin Cooper, the aide who helped set up and maintain Hillary Clinton's private email server. Ban said he reached her brother and her shrink, and Graham pulled back. She was the foundation COO and is now an advisor to the foundation. Ban also wrote how stress at the Clinton Foundation directly caused very serious health issues for board chairman Bruce Lindsay. Quote, but I'm sure Chelsea is more concerned with a mostly false story in the distinguished New York Post about MF Global and Teneo. I don't know what that is. Not her role in what happened to Laura Bruce, what she is doing to the organization, or the several of the stories that have appeared in the New York Post about her father and a multitude of women over the years. So, some of that is just guesses from the people involved with all this, but it's just insane to me that, number one, we've said this before. There is a trail of dead bodies surrounding the Clintons, right?
Yeah,
but the fact well, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to chime in real quick. WJC stands for William J. Clinton, and then the CVC stands for Chelsea Victoria Clinton.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. But what I was saying was that, you know, it's just insane to me that people like literally want to kill themselves when they work for these people. Like, what is it? What's going on? I mean, why is it so stressful? You know,
like if the allegations of corruption with all in these different areas, you know, with the Clinton White House, and then also with the Clinton Foundation, and all these emails coming out from WikiLeaks and stuff like that. If they offered you a position to work for them in any part of their political empire, you might want to stop and really take a look at it, because for the amount of people, I think we maybe covered this in a previous episode, but for the amount of people who work for them, they have a huge number either A, becoming suicidal, or B, actually committing suicide or being whacked. So
it's any of those three.
Take that job. I wouldn't take that job.
Yeah, I don't think that I would either. So,
yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the next thing in there. So Tom DeLonge, lead vocalist of Blink-182, or former, I should say, and lead vocalist of Angels and Airwaves, was emailing.
No, Blink-182 back together now?
Yeah, they are, but he's not in it anymore.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember where he went, but whatever. Or I don't mean where he went. I know where he went. He went. He went
straight to hell.
Okay, that was loud. Jesus.
Sorry.
He's just doing Angels and Airwaves. Doesn't matter. So he was emailing Podesta about aliens and UFOs. Like, first of all, I can't believe that people picked that up as a story. You know, in the oh my God, look, Tom DeLonge is sending emails about UFOs. What? I mean, I don't care. Like, I don't know why that's important, but I just figured I'd mention it because it was funny. Like, they're talking about like getting together to discuss the things that they've talked about in the past. So, government cover up of UFOs involving the Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation? You bet. I always knew that there was a reptilian inside of her body piloting her as a robot. So, we got that. So,
well, congratulations, Aaron. We just perpetuated a non-story.
Yeah. Infowars.com.
Bill Clinton's a rapist.
Bill, you're a rapist. You're a rapist, Bill. Everybody knows you're a rapist.
My favorite part, I should have said this in the last segment, but where Bill's like, oh, okay. And then he like pauses like he's going to have a comeback, and then he doesn't have one.
Yeah. Where I first heard about this was it was a radio show, and that was kind of like what they riffed on, was that he didn't have a comeback, and I thought that was so funny. Oh yeah, that's true, I guess.
let me tell you about my wife.
That's funny. She'll shut your ass down. Hope you don't want to be suicided. So, anyways, okay. The next thing was, this one was one of the most, I don't know, very concerning to me, and it was this gentleman, Bill Ivey. I'm not exactly sure who he is. It probably said it in there, but he was sending an email to John Podesta, and it says, as I've mentioned, we've all been quite content to demean government, drop civics, and in general conspire to produce an unaware and compliant citizenry. The unawareness remains strong, but compliance is obviously fading rapidly. This problem demands some serious thinking, and not just poll-driven, demographically inspired messaging. Oh my God. Like, whenever I read that, the first thing that I thought of, and you can correct me if you think I'm incorrect on this, I think he's referring to like Black Lives Matter. Like, I think that that, you know, sometimes it's a useful tool for them to stir up divide and conquer tactics, but I think that they've realized that these movements, the Bernie movement and all that, it's gotten out of control to the point where people are trying to think for themselves. I mean, yeah, I would think that any real leftist ideology that pops out of these movements and stuff is, I mean, technically just bowing to the system, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's outside of the establishment system that these people want to create. They want compliant nerds to worship Hillary, right? But that's not what's happening. They're choosing the radical. So,
well, I'll say this, just like, and I hate using this term because, like, to me, a community is just a community. It doesn't matter like what their race is, and that I think perpetuates racism in the U.S. But referring to the African American community, during the last 2 presidential elections, because of President Obama, they turned out in force to vote. Those people fought and clawed to make sure they got in that voting booth, and that was partially of Hillary's demise of last time, and why she didn't win the candidacy in 2008. So it was definitely in her best interest if the inner city communities and all these communities that pulled together and campaigned and voted for President Obama, if they're like so wrapped up in the own turmoil of their own communities and they're being burnt to the ground and they got other things to worry about, you think they're going to worry about the presidential election? Doubt it.
Right. I agree with that. I think that makes it. You're making a good point, but
it's kind of I'd say it's borderline conspiracy-ish. But I mean, anything to help this whole divide and conquer tactic, because if you really stop and think about it, a huge majority of people hate Hillary Clinton.
But Donald as well. I mean,
yeah. Well, Donald is part of that plan, because he's dividing the Republican Party, and so not a lot of people that's splitting the vote there. But then they also need to now not so much with because Hillary's the nominee, but they had to make sure that Bernie couldn't get in, and it's about just getting just enough votes. You don't have to get all the votes, but you have to get just enough.
Right.
And to make sure you get enough, you need to make sure the other possible choices don't or get just under enough.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Another thing, I want to go ahead and move on because there's a bunch more we got to cover, and we're already like almost 12 minutes in. But
go for it.
So, for some reason, I don't have the email saved on here. It might have been scrubbed from my device. Oh my God.
Oh shit, Hillary.
God dang, man. There's a drone pointed right at us. Anyways, a member of legal counsel for 9/11 victims conspired with the Clintons since Clinton Foundation receives cash from the Saudis. Basically saying the email was sent from one of these lawyers who's representing people who want to sue Saudi Arabia, and it was like, if you would like any information, I can keep you updated and all this stuff about what's happening with all this, because they know that the Clintons have assets from the Saudis, right? And that could affect their cash flow. So that to me says, I guess that's accurate, right? It says to the 9/11 victims, dude, get new lawyers. Get new lawyers. And you damn well better not freaking vote for Hillary Clinton, because I guarantee you, if she has her hands in the Saudis' cash flow, that she's not going to let this happen. I mean, it's already been overridden. It's already a law now, but you can bet that she's going to go after it any way that she can. So,
that's the thing. Like, publicly, she'll speak in favor of it, like she has, and she supported compensation going to the 9/11 victims, and like they get health care and that kind of stuff. Or to the the first responders and all that. But anyways, she'll publicly be like, oh yeah, we need to do all we can for the 9/11 victims and all this stuff, but then she'll behind the scenes be undercutting the shit out of it. and just be a facade.
Yeah.
So
okay, so another one in here was oh man, this is starting to get into the bad shit. So the New York Times has been sending drafts of stories to Clinton staffers. And you can see that because their email signature is on there in these emails, and it's like stuff that was going to be released about Clinton or stuff that was going to be released about Donald. So, with the whole the stuff that's come out about Donald Trump from the New York Times, like with the allegations of him raping women and stuff like that. Which I'm not discrediting those. Don't think that that's what we're doing. All I'm saying is that the New York Times, being the ones who do it, they're automatically discredited. You know what I mean? If they're conspiring with Clinton staffers, it really appears that they are. I mean, everybody knows that the media is behind Clinton, but this is actual proof. You know what I mean? Yeah. This is solid gold proof. So,
like, obviously these emails are pretty shocking, and I was just like, what? But I wasn't surprised as everyone else is seeming to be, because, I mean, the New York Times, under all these articles, was printing this article approved by Clinton campaign, 2016. But, and so, yeah, I just wasn't surprised. I guess people just don't read the New York Times as much as I do, but, I guess.
Yeah, it's not surprising at all. Okay, so here's another one. This one is about foreign policy. So this one is from John Podesta, and it was sent to H. Subject: here's what I mentioned. Hit send too soon, meant to say Syria elements are vexing. I think we are headed down this path in Iraq, but the Syria elements are... What? Okay, so let me just get into the whole thing. That was just like the header. Anyways, number one, with all of its tragic aspects, the advance of ISIL through Iraq gives the U.S. the way it deals with the chaotic security situation in North Africa and the Middle East. Military-industrial complex on patrol! Anyways, the most important factor in this matter is to make use of intelligent resources and special operations troops in an aggressive manner while avoiding the old-school solution, which calls for more... traditional military operations. Is that the war drums? That's the war drums. In Iraq, it is important that we engage ISIL using the resources of the Peshmerga fighters of the Kurdish regional government. And what, if any, reliable units exist in the Iraq army? The Peshmerga commanders are aggressive, hard-fighting troops who have long-standing relationships with CIA officers and special forces operators. However, they will need the continued commitment of U.S. personnel to work with them as advisors and strategic planners.
God damn it, dude. We're going to fucking war. We're going to war. This
was sent in 2014 too, mind you. So, like, no. The point is, they know all this crap. You know what I mean? They're getting inside sources telling them all this stuff. Anyways, so here is the kicker on all this. This is what blows my mind. So this email confirms that Saudi Arabia is actually, they have their hands in supporting ISIS with strategic support. That's what this email says, right? And it just blows my mind that, like, this email comes out and really nobody's talking about it. Maybe antiwar.com's talking about it. Maybe you see it on the Free Thought Project and stuff like that. But you're not really... And to me, this is like a huge deal. Like, the fact that they're talking about it like it's just complete fact. I mean, what is going on? Jesus. So, yeah, it was Qatar and Saudi Arabia are providing logistic support for ISIS. So there you go. And we just sent, billions of dollars in military equipment to Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia used an American bomb. Well, actually, we'll get into that later. But anyways, the war machine is huge. It's getting bigger, and it's sucking all the life out of me. I don't think I can do this anymore. Anyways.
And we have this whole like frenemy situation going on, and like we're friends with them, but we're also fighting like a branch of them at the same time. It's just yeah, I agree with that. So in closing, there was one
Donna Brazile. You know who that is? She's the interim chair of the DNC right now. You know?
Yeah.
She took over when Debbie Wasserman Schultz
resigned and got her new job at the Clinton campaign. Yeah.
For help. Basically, it was proven that she helped Hillary
the
win.
election.
Right.
Rig the
Right.
primaries.
So in these emails, Donna Brazile sent an email to some staffers for the Hillary camp, talking about basically coordinating that, hey, look, Sanders is doing this on this day. So she was helping Hillary too. She was helping defeat Sanders too. So there you go, Democrats. That's your, for the group that is supposed to be the biggest backers of democracy.
And the party of the people.
It's amazing to me how little the people have control over the party. So,
and how little the party actually gives a shit about the people.
Right. They're so opposed to, the party is so opposed to global warming and investment in clean energy, but Hillary's getting more money than any candidate ever has from oil companies. They're supposedly against Wall Street, but she's got more money coming from Wall Street than any other candidate.
At least with the Republicans, when you register as a Republican, at least you're entering the corporate structure, whereas with the Democrat Party, you're like, oh, I'm gonna be one of the peoples. And nope, you're a slave.
You're a slave. You're a Democrat, you're a slave. Well, actually, if you're a Republican, you're a slave too. Well, if you're registered to vote, you're a slave. If you live in America, you're a slave. You're a slave.
That's just theft. Oh my God, I feel so alive.
Hey, calm down.
I feel so alive. Alex Jones.
What'd you do?
Alex Jones.
Hey,
I did what you asked. When Bill Clinton was speaking at the Hillary rally, I yelled, "You're a rapist! You're a rapist!" Granted, they kicked me out, but right before they tossed me out of the building, I was like, Infowars.com!
Oh, no!
Infowars.com!
What were you thinking? You can't just name Infowars.
I was giving you a shout out.
They're going to get both of us now.
No, what? No. What do you mean they're going to get both of us? What?
Have you not seen how many people have been suicided by the Clintons?
I didn't do any. All I yelled was he was a rapist. And it's true. You said it was true.
I did say it was true, but there's nothing. Now we're fucked. We're fucked, dude. Do you realize how fucked we are?
Die, you son of a bitch.
My dick. Oh, God.
I don't want to be suicided.
There's fluoride in the...
No one calls me a rapist but Hillary. You sure we're not going to have a grand phallus? We didn't have a grand phallus.
CIA is kind of a grand phallus. So, all right, here's the deal. This is a story from Fox News Politics. It's ran in other places, so don't give me that bullshit about, oh, it's from Fox News, it's bullshit. Okay. CIA reportedly preparing major cyber assault against Russia in wake of hack attacks. That's right, even though it has, as far as I know, it has yet to be substantiated that Russia is actually behind these hacks, but whatever. The Central Intelligence Agency reportedly is preparing a major cyber attack against Russia in response to the theft of records from the Democratic National Committee and its affiliates, allegedly by Moscow-backed hackers. Now, let me ask you this real quick. Isn't the DNC a private institution? Right?
Yes.
I mean, theoretically, isn't it a private institution? So, okay, so why? I don't understand. I'm a little confused. They took a risk. They didn't secure their shit, and they are paying the price by being flogged in the public square by people like us. You know what I mean? And the real issue is, why isn't, like, look, in my opinion, if the CIA is going to go after anyone, why not go after the DNC? I mean, let's face it. It looks like they got their hands in every single, freaking conflict that's going on. ISIS is created. I mean, well, no. Look at the Taliban. Isn't the Taliban basically created by the CIA? I mean, Am I crazy?
Maybe a little bit, but you're accurate.
Wasn't Osama bin Laden working with the CIA?
Yes.
I mean, not when he did the terrorist. Well, not that we know of, but Infowars.com. So Vice President Joe Biden told NBC News, which first reported that the Obama administration was considering retaliatory measures that the U.S. would be sending a message to Russian President Vladimir Putin. Biden added that any cyber action would come, quote, at the time of our choosing and under the circumstances that will have the greatest impact. Well, what the hell does that mean?
Yeah, and even still, they have, like, even if it were the Russians, okay, and I'm really skeptical that it actually is, but they have presented no, actual evidence to the American people other than the Clinton campaign saying, hey, it was the Russians that hacked us. They're trying to get into our political system because they want Donald Trump elected, which I don't think they really do want. The Russians would want Donald Trump elected. Because then the Russians can pretty much do whatever the fuck they want right now, and we don't care. We're not going to stop them, and
besides that, like, let's face it, it is weird that the Democrats are the ones who are red baiting Republicans right now, as far as Russia goes.
Yep.
I mean, as far as I can tell. Go ahead.
In 2008, or when Romney, 2012, Romney was saying that Russia was our biggest geopolitical threat, and
Obama called him freaking crazy.
Yeah, he
1980s called. They want their foreign policy back.
Yeah, zing.
Yeah, everybody's like, oh, he told Romney, we're not going to go to war with Russia. Now Hillary's like, let's go to war with Russia. And all the Democrats are like, 4 years
later. 4 years later, they're like, Russia is our biggest threat. We are going to fight them.
Let's create a no-fly zone in Syria, and then the Russians won't violate it. But if they do, we'll fuck them up. God. No, this is 2 episodes in a row where we've talked about the military-industrial complex. But look, we have 2 candidates, in my opinion, that look like they really want to ramp that shit up, okay?
Yeah.
And you could say what you want about Donald Trump, like he said some anti-war stuff, right? But the fact of the matter is he says he wants to grow the American military, so that means he's adding to the military-industrial complex. So,
yeah.
Sorry, folks.
And I was thinking about that this past week from when we recorded the last episode, that, like, really, I'm considering not voting this election because, like, there is literally, between the 2 major party candidates, there is no candidate that is actually anti-war.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, even Gary Johnson is weak. He talks about unintended consequences and stuff like that. Whenever, like, what we talked about this the other day, it is intended. I mean, this thing is intended to continue. You know, if you have a situation in which you're in a war that you know is self-perpetuating, you just want to continue the military-industrial complex. But let's go ahead and jump back into this story. So. NBC also reported that intelligence officials have been asked to present the White House with ideas for a clandestine cyber operation designed to embarrass the Kremlin. Oh my God. This is how wars start. You know, like, oh, America wants to embarrass the Kremlin. Wow. What's it going to do? Release pictures of Vladimir Putin naked on a horse? I think it's going to have the opposite effect, dude.
Did that.
Been there, done that. Quote, we've always hesitated to use a lot of stuff we've had, but that's a political decision, a former CIA officer told NBC. Quote, if someone has decided we've had enough of the Russians, there is a lot we can do. So when the Democrats decide, hey, we've been screwed over by the Russians too much, CIA, please go out and do the dirty work for us.
Yeah.
Good God.
I mean, when has it become part of our foreign policy to go out and try to embarrass other governments by criminal actions?
What if Hillary ran on this? I mean, what if you had a presidential candidate up there, and we are going to embarrass Russia on the internet? You know? That is fucking ridiculous, dude. This is bullshit. Anyways, last week, the U.S. formally blamed the Russian government for cyber attacks on the Democratic National Committee and the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. A statement from the Department of Homeland Security and the Office of the Director of National Intelligence said that recent disclosures of alleged hacked emails on websites like dcleaks.com and WikiLeaks and by the Guccifer 2.0 online persona are consistent with the methods and motivations of efforts directed by Russia. Quote, we believe, based on the scope and sensitivity of these efforts, that not only Russia's senior-most officials could have authorized these activities, the statement said. Earlier this week, Putin told an investor forum in Moscow that it did not matter who was behind the hacks, but it was, quote, what's inside the information that matters, end quote. Duh. Freaking duh. I mean,
yep.
For people who are saying that Russia is crazy, most of those people are not saying this. They're not saying, well, let's talk about what's in these emails. You know what I mean? You don't end up hearing denial from the Democratic National Committee. All you hear is, Russia did it. Get them. You know, and that shows you that the Democrats are only anti-war unless they're being attacked personally, unless they have something to gain. So.
No one has, at least in the media anyways, the mainstream media, no one has even suggested the idea that, you know what, it may not have been the Russians. It could have just been some hackers that realized shit was fucked up and wanted to call attention to it, so they hack it and release the information.
Yeah.
It could just be as simple as that. It literally could be, but
it's just insane, man. I mean, this whole election cycle, like I said, is absolutely insane. But I think that all of the events that are happening around it are even more crazy. And the fact that people will not acknowledge the actual issue here is
they criminalize the whistleblowers as opposed to
right. To me, it doesn't matter who's blowing the whistle. If you find out information that is showing you corruption, you look at that information showing you corruption and you take out the corrupted parts of the system. If you don't take those corrupted parts out of the system and you just go after the whistleblower, nothing changes. You know what I mean? You got to trim the fat. That's what I say. And
Edward Snowden is still hiding in
Russia.
Where's he at? Russia?
Yeah, he's in Russia. Yeah.
You know. I also wonder. Because as much as we talk about the Russians in our media here, do you think the Russians talk about us as much in their media?
That I do not know. I mean, does it really matter though?
Not really, but
yeah.
I mean, anytime anything at least within the last year, anytime anything goes wrong, our political system blames the Russians.
Yeah. It's the Cold War Part 2, guys. It's the Cold War Part 2. Infowars.com. Jump. All right.
Killed it, Aaron. That was my bit. That was my bit, Aaron.
Yeah, your bit sucks. Folks, let's get serious for a second. Podcasting isn't free. It costs money for hosting, equipment, and time. That's fine. It's a price that we are willing to pay to get inside your head. But now, Liberty Lampoon has joined a whole community of podcasts on Patreon. Now you can help support us in continuing and growing our show. And in exchange, we'll hook you up with awesome perks. If you pledge at least $2 a month, you get access to our secret Facebook group and our Discord server where you can suggest show topics. You get mentioned on the following Liberty Lampoon episode, and if we reach our first goal of $60 a month, you get exclusive bonus episodes every month. Hell, I might even do some of them every week. Please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/Liberty Lampoon. That's patreon.com/Liberty Lampoon.
Hey, why wasn't I invited to do this ad?
Okay. So, man, the Gulf of Aden. More military-industrial complex, folks. Let's chat it up, okay? Hold on to your butts. We're gonna get into this. So, I think we should start from the beginning, don't you, Michael? Don't you think we should start from the beginning of this week? Let's
do it.
Let's see what happened. Okay, so U.S.-backed Saudi forces in Yemen dropped a bomb that basically had USA written on it in Yemen, killing 140 civilians and injuring 500 others. Okay, that's pretty bad, right? So they're sifting through the rubble. They find a piece of this bomb, and it's written in English, and it basically says USA. I mean, it's it's pretty much confirmed, right? Oh God, this is great. So it was led by a Saudi-led coalition, and it was I don't know what it was. It was a funeral, right? So anyways, there's all this backlash. You know, these people are pissed off, and then Houthis, who are considered a terrorist group, I believe, in Yemen, they fire a surface-to-air missile at a U.S. warship that's in the Gulf there, off the coast of Yemen.
Two of them. They fired two of them.
Two of them, and missed both times. And so then the U.S., not harmed in any way, and still, plus 140 civilians, just saying, they fire some Tomahawk missiles and destroy radar stations off the coast of Yemen, or on the coast, I should say. And killing, we don't even know how many people died from those attacks. We have no idea, really. So then, directly after that, the Houthis are, they're backed by Iran. So then Iran dispatches some warships into the Gulf there, quote, to protect fishermen, end quote. Oh, so you did it right after to protect fishermen. Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, sure. It's not because you're ready to go to war or anything. So there's the facts, right? That's the facts right there. So, who was the initial aggressor, Michael?
Is this a test? Are you testing me right now?
This is a test. There's no multiple choice. It's just it's essay form. Who is the aggressor? Who is down the most civilians right now?
Well, Yemen is down the most civilians.
Yemen is down the most civilians. Okay, so what happens? Let's say this. I wrote this piece that I think I'll release today. So let's say Texas, it's Texas, and there's a.
This is still part of the test, right?
Yeah,
part of the test?
We're talking about Texas, right? And
testing my liberty.
There is a sure. There is a China warship off the coast in the Gulf of Mexico, right? Let's just say that.
Okay.
And so Philippine China-backed Philippine fighters launch a drone attack. This is completely fiction, by the way. They launch a drone attack, and they blow up a funeral in Texas, or let's say a wedding, because I don't think there's that big of a turnout for a funeral in Texas. But so they launch a drone strike on a Texas wedding, and they kill 140 citizens in Texas and injure 500 others. Right?
And there's just cowboy boots and hats everywhere.
Right. Oh God, good God. Oh shit! They killed Tom.
Oh, the humanity! Who's gonna wear all these boots?
Oh, how am I ever going to go back to selling propane and propane accessories? Anyways,
no, it took out the Dallas Cowboys stadium.
And don't get offended, because this is mythical. This would never happen. But anyways, so they do that. So Texans, you think that they're just gonna be like, oh well, China's fighting for freedom. It makes sense that they blew up this funeral. You think that they're gonna do that?
The wedding.
Yeah, wedding. Yeah. You think they're gonna just let that slide, or are they going to try to attack as hard as they can Chinese warships in the area?
It sounds like a reasonable assumption that when people are attacked on their homeland, that they don't do anything.
That's what I was saying. Like this week, what do you think if there was an occupational force here in the United States and they were murdering people? Would U.S. citizens just sit back and just let it happen, or do you think that they would actually start fighting back? And then, do we consider those American citizens terrorists for fighting back against occupational forces in their country who should not be there?
Wait, are we Are we talking about cops? I thought we were talking about Yemen.
Oh. Maybe next episode we'll talk about cops.
Buzzing.
Bazinga.
Right.
Okay. So, I mean, what is the answer to that? I think that that's what you should ask everybody, because, you posted this on your Facebook page, and there were some people who are like, they shot at us first. I'm just saying, if somebody blows up a town here in Texas and there's Chinese writing on the bomb, they're gonna try to kill Chinese people, right?
As the administration would put it, we're going to try to embarrass the Chinese government.
No, I think that Americans would be out for blood if this happened in America.
Oh, you mean like 9/11?
It just blows my mind that people are not that they look. There's people who look at that entire. Okay, I just got it. I just got it.
You might want to hold back on using the term or the phrase. It blows my mind.
I got it. It hit home finally. Shit. It threw off my train of thought, Michael. Well, this segment's ruined. Railing against the war machine, and we can't keep our shit together, so
it's just blowing our minds. Oh my god.
Okay, so
but no. Okay, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, to me, it makes perfect sense that anybody who is in their geographical location, if you have family members being blown up by a force or linked to a force, that you would target those people. And I don't think that it's fair to call those people terrorists. And really, as far as I'm concerned, like we were saying about your Facebook post when you posted this, people don't understand the differences between the people there, okay? ISIS is a whole totally different thing, but there are people who look at and see ISIS and say, we need to eradicate people in this area, right? I mean, literally, people who think that they would not care if we turned the Middle East into glass, bombed it to shit. And and really, I think that the U.S. foreign policy kind of speaks to that, and it's a mess, so...
Well, and if, just in this one setting, you can see how I think it's super clear, at least to me anyways, that how the U.S., we contribute to the chaos in the Middle East, and then we use that chaos as justification to further our efforts and cause more chaos. And it's like, it's with all these people who don't actually like us.
Right. And if you have because there is not a soul there who is looking at us like freedom fighters, right?
Yeah, like we're their heroes and Uncle Sam's the man.
Now, if they do, the only reason is because we saved a certain group of them at a certain point. But whenever we blow up their neighbor, that changes pretty quickly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was talking to my father about this the other day, and about how I think that he's kind of the opinion that we're either there or we're not there, and that whatever this policy is right now is just perpetuating the situation and making it worse. He is like, shit or get off the pot. Like, he thinks we should dispatch thousands of ground troops or get the fuck out of there. Like, there's no reason for us to be there. Now, I disagree. Yeah. Being that pragmatically, that makes sense to me, just because a ground force would be able to, they aren't as quick to, I mean, I say this, I'm talking theoretically. Theoretically, they aren't as quick to kill citizens, right? Theoretically. Whereas a drone strike it doesn't give a fuck who's there. You're pressing a button.
Unless they're American police, then they're pretty quick to kill people.
Right. You have PCP in your system that I can't see and I could never know ever. Oh, you're dead, and it's justified. Pew 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 pew. Fucking pigs. I don't like saying pigs. Anyways, but yeah, no, I don't agree with him. I don't agree with him. I'm anti-war. I think we just need to leave the region. And really, I think that even if you did do a ground invasion, I mean, it doesn't really make sense, because what are you going to do afterwards?
And
Because I mean, if you leave,
where are you going to even start? Because if looking at Yemen, which we actually have people in Yemen, we also have people in Oman, we actually have people in UAE, United Arab Emirates. So
you'd be insane to think that we don't have people everywhere. They're everywhere over there.
And so if you were going to invade, where would you start? And for what reason? And then once you finish that group, you're just going to pick another group off a list and go after them because their ideas counter that of the established regime. In what world is that justified just because there's a group that differs in opinion from the political establishment that they automatically deserve to have war thrown on them? Because if that's the case, then the Tea Party should have been wiped the fuck out.
Oh, but damn. Look, let me just say this real quick, guys. If you are one of these Constitution lickers, or you love the founding fathers, I'm sorry, then you should completely.
Bill Clinton endorses this message.
Come on, you should completely understand the plight of the people who are attacking U.S. forces in the region. I mean, because what would American patriots from the Revolutionary War look like today? What would we call them? We'd call them freaking terrorists, according to the definition now. That's the way that I look at it. They were terrorists on Britain, And to me, it's just important that we note these things and that we get the hell out of there because we have no business being there. We screwed it up from day one that we got involved in the Middle East, and we need to get the hell out of there. No more people should have to die in that region, American or otherwise. Pull them out, end it.
And this whole thing, we our media here in our country does a really good job because whereas the regime all these rebel groups that are fighting against the Assad regime, if we were on the Assad regime like the Russians are, we would call them terrorists, no matter how many groups there were.
Yep,
they'd all be terrorist groups. But to us, we call them freedom fighters
or rebels
or rebels. Yeah,
right.
And it is absolutely ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
Right.
But
the lines are grayed there. It's time to get out. No more blood should be spilt over that region. We promised them things after World War I. We didn't give it to them, and we just completely exacerbated the issue, and we need to get out. Chances are there will still be blowback even if we leave, but it's worth it, in my opinion. I think that we need to get out of the region. I think that in time it will work itself out if we leave. That's just my opinion. Oh, and I can already hear the voices of warmongers everywhere calling us fucking crazy. So, Infowars.com! Hey guys, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much.
We have a website now. You can find us at libertylampoon.com. Just
Lampoon.
All of our shows are there. There's info about us. There's a blog. I think I'm going to be doing that weekly. Michael, if you want to contribute, you can too.
I'll think about it.
I know you got things to say, Michael.
Well, I actually
dumb jokes to write and post. Follow us on Twitter at Liberty Lampoon. You can get all updates there. We're on Twitter. Follow us.
Or follow us individually at Coogie Bear
and at Shotguns. Shotguns EZZ. Find all of our episodes. Listen to all of our episodes. Consider helping out the show. Thank you so much, and I guess we'll see you guys next week.
And this is Michael.
And this is Aaron.
And we here at Liberty Lampoon Podcast want you to remember to be free and go vote.
Don't vote.